Well, good evening, internets. It's me, DP Knudten, for another edition of BOOKWARD BOUND, my 301-day journey from I should really do this to done. And that done is the creation of a brand new book by January 1st, 2021, called NONFICTION BRAND, Discover, Craft, and Communicate the Completely True, Completely You brand you already are. And that's what I'm doing every night for, let's see, 223 consecutive days. I've been coming down to my office to progress the book forward in one form or another for anywhere from 15 minutes a night to about an hour. I don't think I've done anything over an hour, but it doesn't really matter because I've been taking these small bites out of this book every single night. And, you know, it's just like the proverbial elephant. I'm watching that elephant disappear before my very eyes. So could join me on this fun little journey all the way from book idea to book in stores, or more specifically in Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing platform, where you'll be able to buy it from Amazon anytime you want. And I won't have to stock any of those darn books. I'll just sit back here with a Mai Tai collecting royalties. Well, maybe not that many royalties, but it doesn't really matter because this is about creating something that I've been thinking about for a long, long time and putting it in book form so that other people can understand what I'm talking about and also hopefully enjoy it and use it to build their personal brands. So, what am I doing tonight? Oh man, that's a really good question. What am I doing tonight? I am going to take a look at Scrivener, the application that I'm writing the book in. You can see it right here. Big window here, that's where you write. And over here are the chapters. Hold on. Why is it? Oh, because I'm not doing that right. There we go. Chapters. Got it. What am I going to do? I'm going to look to see where I left off here. George B. Thomas. Oh, yeah. I think this is what I'm going to do. Have you heard of Descript? I learned about this from my friend Stephanie Liu. It's a transcription service, but it's more than that. It does a whole bunch of different things. But I use it primarily for transcriptions, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about here when I create a new composition. And I'm going to choose the file, and it's going to actually come from an unedited podcast because I'm kind of anxious to get a quote from this, from George B. Thomas. So, audio only MP4. See if this will work. Because what it'll do is it'll transcribe the file, detect speakers. I'm saying there are two speakers, and telling it to transcribe it. So this application is going to, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, thank you. You can tell fall allergies are kicking in. But this transcription service application will grind its way through the entire recording and transcribe it all. And then there's a specific story at the end of the second episode we did together that I desperately want to plug into the book. So I'm going to grab those keystrokes or that transcription and do exactly that. But that is going to take a little bit of time, and it's also going to ask me to identify the speakers in just a minute or so. So I'm going to do something else while we wait. So that's in the section of Scrivener called The Undeniable Attractivity of Vulnerability, in which I talk about love the word Brene Brown. Down vulnerability. Let me give it a thing. La 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 la. All right. Well, I want to write about George, but I want to get that quote because I want to write about that quote. So that's going to take some time. Branding equals doing. Okay, this whole section. So Molly Mahoney and Sarah Gross. I wonder if I can do that. Sarah Groves. Branding herself. There, umbrella. We'll talk about that. Meet Molly Mahoney. Perfect. Perfect face. Let's call it a perfect face for Facebook. Now, these two ladies are focusing on identify speakers. Sorry, got to go over into the script because it's asking me to identify speakers.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would say the coaches are
like, see, when you share, that's me, close. So it's identified everybody. Great. So Molly Mahoney. Maybe it's Molly Mahoney, Sarah Gross, Brandingers. Sarah Gross. Let's see what 0.5 looks like. Get that. Except that work that way. Gross. I think a period. All right, so let's go see if we got George. I'm going to rename this thing before I forget to Georgeb Thomas full record. All right, he talks. We can do a text search for a dropout. High school dropout. Right. Taught this was sitting at Cheesecake Factory with Mark. Right. 2 seconds ago, I'm putting it out there. I learned this lesson years ago. Great. Let's.
I learned this lesson years ago, and we may have talked about it on a previous episode. I don't know. But the magic moments of your life will only happen when you are secure enough to be vulnerable. And I was taught this. I was sitting at Cheesecake Factory, Marcus Sheridan. I was getting ready to do my first keynote speech, and we're sitting at Cheesecake Factory. He said, okay, if you do not share with
I learned this. So this whole quote. God, I'm going to put this whole thing in there and then edit from there. So. Whoa. That. But I do want. All right, so I'm just fixing up some formatting quickly. Marcus Sheridan, don't need document. I was getting ready to do my first keynote speech. I gotta leave. I was taught the. And I was taught this.
And I was taught this. I was sitting at Cheesecake Factory, Marcus Sheridan. I was getting ready to do my.
Sitting at. Marcus Sheridan. I was getting ready to do my first keynote speech, and we're sitting at Cheesecake Factory. I think I can probably leave that. Just do the old ellipsis. Dang it. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? He said, if you do not share with the folks this piece of information, it won't be magical. And I said, you are out of your mind. I've been running from that for 5 years, not sharing that piece of information. By the way, for all the listeners on the podcast, by the way, this is not a podcast, we'll just go. I've done the things I've done. High school dropout. But I wasn't going to do it well. Well, that's a mess.
And I'm a high school dropout. But I wasn't going to tell anybody that.
To tell. Anybody. Anybody that.
Tell anybody that information. They did. It was on a need to know basis.
It was on a need to know basis, and frankly, they didn't need to know. Right? And I was like, and he was like, quote, if you will be vulnerable, you'll do that. For your first keynote, the what will be magical, not the date.
Frankly, you didn't need to know.
Right.
And he was like, if you will be vulnerable, if you will do that, your first keynote out the gate will be magical. And so I was like,
first keynote out the gate will be magical. So I was like, okay. So my first screen of the keynote, it was a black screen. White text says, I'm a high school dropout. The crowd started laughing, and I quietly said, I'm a high school dropout. There was a couple of little
Okay, so my first screen of the keynote, it was a black screen, white text says, I'm a high school dropout. The crowd started laughing. And I quietly said, I'm a high school dropout. There was a couple little, and then all of a sudden, dead quiet. You could hear a pin drop.
There was a couple little and then all of a sudden, dead quiet. You could hear a pin drop. And I said for a third time, I'm a high school dropout. The rest of the keynote was about marketing and metrics and analyzing, but everybody was listening for the entire time because I was willing to be vulnerable. Ooh, that. And my call to action, everybody listen to this. VP would be that they just be secure enough to be vulnerable, just long enough to see that magic moment. We're going to pull this out because once you see it, once you're like, I'm in it to win it. I'm in it to win it. I will do this for the rest of my life. And at that keynote, I had a lady come up to me and she said, hey, your math teacher story? Because by the way, I'm a high school dropout because a math teacher told me I would never amount to anything. And
lady come up to me and she said, hey, your math teacher story, because by the way, I'm a high school dropout because a math teacher told me I would never amount to anything, and I believed him. So be careful what you believe, people. She said, I really connect with your.
Okay, so that's not about her, that's about him. Got to clean that up. Because, by the way, so be careful what you believe, people. He said, I really connect with your math teacher story. Period. For me, that was my mother. And we sat and talked for 20 minutes about family and forgiveness. And when she walked out of the door, I was like, I want to do this the rest of my life. Yeah, that's a great story. And NFB. Number. Because it hasn't been cut yet. That is a great story. So it deserves its pride of place in the book. How many words was that story? 443. Nice. So now I can go back here and read this and add some copy a little bit before, a little bit after. Say, no, Gabon, bird, ball. May been only school. I bet he wasn't. And that story about the teacher, we all have one lives by making evil courageous step to tell his complete first taste. He activated power. All at the end of and there was all right. I think I'm going to leave this for tonight because got this. That story is fantastic. Need to go through that and cut that episode up, clean it up. Brene Brown. Oh, that's funny. B-R-E. Allow me to do a... No. An E. Do it. So. Cool. I don't know. Facebook. I do know that it's always annoyed me, so there you go. All right, so again, this is about half an hour, and a half hour is about all I need to do for tonight. Just checking my lighting. If I can lean back all the way like this and be cool. And I think I can, so I'm psyched. I messed around with my camera today, so I'm looking behind me in the lighting. And I'm digging it. And I think there's a better match between this camera and this camera in terms of lighting. So I think I've improved it, although it could probably be a little hotter over here. Anyway, that's for me to worry about later, because it's certainly not about this book, which I did successfully come down here and actually work on. And I made some nice progress. I'm liking it. This section, I think I'll probably finish it tomorrow night and add probably another 400 words or so just to round it out. And I need to get a picture of George to put in there. A new and improved picture, because the dude's dropping weight like crazy, because that's a huge goal of his. So power to you, George. Doing a great job. What a great guest. What a great friend, too. Anyway, that's it for me tonight. I've done enough mumbling as I stare at the screen. Now it's time for me to turn it off and say good night to you. But I also want to say thank you, because you are the peer pressure I need to get my sorry butt down here to work on this book. And because of you, I've done it 223 nights in a row. But I still have 78 left to go before December 31st of 2020. The next day, January 1st, 2021, is the day I'm going to be uploading the press-ready PDF files to Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing space. So I got some work to do here. But I know with your help, I'm going to get it done. So thank you very much. I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand podcast, which comes out every single Monday. Please check it out wherever you get your fine podcasts for free. And if you like it, give it a thumbs up like. Don't be afraid to subscribe. Refer it to other people, but most of all, can you do me a huge favor and review it wherever you get your podcast, because that really will help other people find it. Thank you for that. That's it for me tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. But until then, theme music, take us on out. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.